Was it Android? Mother
Mother
Cyborg?
Android.
Mother Android. Tell me about Mother Android on Netflix. What's this about?
Yeah, Mother Android. It's a Netflix film. I believe it's a Netflix original, but I could be wrong in that. I have been in the past. Basically, it's set in a world. Well, we were introduced to our two main characters, who are a woman and her boyfriend, and it's just before Christmas, and they have discovered that they are pregnant, as a couple,
Yeah.
and he is more into the relationship than she is. And so she's not quite sure what she wants to do, what the future's going to hold. So she's in this uncertain state. And she goes to her parents' house just before Christmas to see them. And then you introduce to their manservant, who is an android. And so this is the first time that we realize that this world in which we are now joining is not our own. It is
Yes.
set in, it's like recognizable as us, as Earth, contemporary to us. Clothes and all the household goods look modern, but you have this fully functioning sort of adult looking, human looking android who is
Yes.
like a domestic servant. This is set in America. And then they go to another house party where, during the course of the evening, she goes into a room with one of her friends to tell him about her personal situation. And then they hear this sort of like pulse, this sort of alarm signal, and then basically all hell breaks loose as
Yeah.
all these androids that were basically invisible, just staff,
Yeah.
suddenly have turned on humankind. And then there's like a widespread massacre ensues. And
Ooh.
her boyfriend then grabs her, and whichever survivors are left from this, their own domestic servant suddenly ripping them to bits, they flee. And then the story jumps ahead to basically when she's just about to give birth. She's heavily pregnant. They're hiding in the woods, and they've heard about an army camp where they can go and that will help them to get to a port where there's a plan to get to evacuate children and families who to get them out of America
Yeah.
to another. The Korea basically is one of the countries mentioned, but they're like being evacuated from mainland America.
Yeah.
And so that is our story. So we have this woman who is about to give birth, trying to navigate through a world where basically all the androids are hostile and they look human. So it's
Mm.
only when they get close or when they go nasty that you realize that they are actually androids.
Androids.
And so before they go into any safe place, their blood is tested, their eyes are tested. So they have to be scrutinized to make sure that they are genuinely human themselves. And so into this, you have this.
Okay, Sharon, you might just be a very good storyteller, but I'm liking this world that's being built. So,
So I don't really want to give you much more away because I think that from that point on, it starts getting into spoiler territory. But
yes,
then the story as it carries on deals with their relationship, the fact that she wasn't as into him as she thought she was at the beginning of their relationship. And
been
then
there.
obviously crisis, baby, fighting for their lives. You then
Yeah.
see how their relationship changes through this violent catharsis, as it were, where
Mm.
all these different emotions get played out. And then you see the little bit into the world in which we're now living. And there's a few twists, turns, frills and spills and moments of high tension and drama,
Yeah.
as you'd expect from a film of this nature. But yeah, so that being said, that's all I'll say about the story. But I thought so. My reaction to it was I thought it was very well done. Actually, it's downplayed quite a bit. I mean, as you would expect in like a post-apocalyptic world, it's rainy. I think we know there's an apocalypse coming because it's going to rain, isn't it?
Oh my god.
That's one
Oh,
sure sign that it's an apocalypse in the cinema is it's raining a lot, but
is
not
it?
all the time. But it's a bit rainy. It's a bit grey. Everyone's a little bit depressed,
Is
and
you,
it's a
you
bit
never
muddy.
see a post-apocalyptic world in Hawaii, do you?
No, no. It's normally there's woods involved, which again we know it's apocalypse when you take to the woods. But
Yes,
saying that,
yes.
there are the tropes in there, but then it does throw a few bits in there that it's not your average post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, yeah.
The fact that the only enemy is this remorseless android. I mean, it had shades of Terminator at some points
Oh yeah, yeah.
when I was thinking about the first Terminator, especially where you don't always see it, but they describe it, don't they? That that they are unrelenting. They come in, you don't know they're there. and because they look the same, they've got the skin, the bad breath, and everything, to quote sort of from Terminator.
Yeah.
So I thought there was shades of that in it, but not to its detriment. So no, I thought it did it very well actually, and it was quite low key. Its tone, I think, was because instead of like being really hyper and really like they had those moments, but I'd say the tone of the film was slightly underplayed. The colours were sort of slightly
muted,
and it felt like a sort of downplayed sort of thing. But that appealed to my sensibilities, so I actually liked it.
All right, cool. So before I ask you for a star rating, it stars Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yes.
And Chloe Grace Moretz is one of these actors who I am never quite sure what to think of her. I'm never sure if I like her or not. It's like, do I think she's a good actor or not? I'm not sure. After Hit Girl in Kick-Ass, I don't know. So how is she in this?
Yeah, because again, when I was looking at her, I was thinking, I should know who you are more than I do. Because I'm trying to think, when you think back to what she's been in, I'm thinking, I know you've been around a while now, because you're an adult, you're not a child anymore.
Yeah, but you started as a child.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, what have you been in? But but no, I thought she held her own. I thought as it is, the focus is very much on her.
Yeah,
she's the mother, and it's very much from her point of view. Everyone sort of all the stories sort of circulates around her. I thought she held it well. I think you feel sympathy for her at times. You feel annoyed with her at times. So yeah, she did hold the story together.
All right, cool. We have gotten to let's just take a moment for that to sink in, people. Yeah. We have gotten to the point where Chloe Grace Moretz is playing a mother. Is playing might be a young mother, but a mother nonetheless. This is the one who shocked us all by coming on as a 13-year-old in Kick-Ass and with a potty mouth, and you're like, oh, I can't believe that coming out of somebody so young. She's now a mother, people. All right. So how many stars would you give this?
I liked it, but I would still say it was probably a 3. I think someone like Sean, who'd probably look at it, I think there's things in it he would probably rip to shreds. He'd go, why would you do that? Why would you do that? I could see that he would be, there's certain scenes where I know he would be like, what are you doing? So I know that, and I think people who would probably, well, maybe more critical than I am about storytelling, would be a bit like, why would you fall for that in some parts of the storyline? And the things that you don't see would be like, well, that's just not, is that credible? Really? So I think it would be, I would say it was a 3. I certainly enjoyed it. It was a good 3.
Yeah.
But I would say it probably didn't elevate into it wouldn't be sort of fighting for its place with Terminator for like a apocalyptic android battle type film.
I think you've just come up with a whole new feature for the show, which is we make Sean watch things that we think he'll hate. And we see how right we were.
We like, need a blood pressure monitor so we can do it before the film.
Yeah,
and then we can do it after the film.
Just monitor his blood pressure and heart rate throughout the film. Note, at what point does he say, "Why would you do that?"
When it's fight. Because we know, because I've been to the cinema with Sean, and he'll appreciate this when he listens to this, and that when he enjoys a film, he's almost like recumbent. He is almost like vertical. He gets really low in his seat, and you can barely. If you sat next to him, his head is like down here.
Yeah.
He's really relaxed. He's stretched out, and he's like enjoying it.
Yeah.
But the more he dislikes it, the more upright he gets. Then you can tell if he really doesn't like it. He is like taller than I am in the seat. He's just like, oh. And you can feel that tension radiating off him. And so I think this one, he'd probably be sort of relaxed for parts of it. Then every now and then he'd sit up and go, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I think the 355 would be an issue all the way through, unless he just decided to go, oh, it's a wonderful, it's just like an old school action. No, I think he'll hate it anyway. Yeah. But all right, cool. So 3 stars for Mother Android, and now